Hello everyone and welcome back to Antique and Garden Showcase. My name is Mark and I'm glad to have you here today. We're going to take a look at caladiums, and this is my collection of caladiums that I saved from last fall. Everything on this side of the table was all the heart-to-heart proven winners, and then I had a couple from Monrovia nurseries that I tried last year as well. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to take you on a flashback to last fall, and we're going to see what I did to store these caladiums. When I stored these caladiums last fall, I took just a typical nursery tray. This is one that's all perforated on the bottom, doesn't hold any moisture. I lined them with a wax paper, and then I just laid the bulbs out on them to dry. I did not pack these in anything. Caladiums do not like to be overly moist, and I tried this last year with these bulbs and it worked really well. This is the Proven Winners Heart to Heart Radiance. This will be their third year for me. So I started out with two when I originally bought them, and last year I had 3 clumps started, so I'm going to see how many I can do with this particular set of bulbs this year. So I have Radiance in here. What I did was I tagged these with nursery tags so I could tell which were which in each one. So, and actually this was not Radiance, this was Tickle Me Pink. This was the one that was on the front porch that was in the feature video with Garden Answers. So Tickle Me Pink is right here, and over here on this side I have White Wonder. I also have Blushing Bride, and we have Heart's Delight, and Radiance was down here. With Monrovia last year, they came out with some ones as well. This one was labeled wrong by the big box store, and it's actually a burning heart, and I think there's one very similar to that coming out in Proven Winners. So if you looked at any of my videos from last year, especially the summer recap 2021, the round circular bed that I built in the front of the house, the centerpiece pot, this was the caladium that was in it, the big bright red one. That's the one that was in it. Monrovia Caladium Tiki Torch. This one I didn't have in any features. I actually picked that one up on a clearance shelf at the end of the season last year. And I thought, I'm just going to get that one, save it back, see what I can do with it this year. So now I'm going to take you through what I do to pot up some of these caladiums for the spring. What I want to do is to give them an environment where it can kind of give them a little bit of a kickstart, because caladium bulbs usually like a temperature of about 65 to 70 before they'll even begin to wake up. You don't want to plant them any cooler than that. They can rot. You don't want to give them too much moisture. That's why I keep them in the trays like this and don't pack them. They really don't like being moist, and it doesn't seem to affect them anyway. In my climate, I'm here in Gardening Zone 6B in Central Kentucky. Now, one thing I do use though, I use a heat mat underneath. I also put a terracotta saucer underneath of a black pot. Now, black will absorb heat. They will be under, well, they'll have a heat mat underneath, they'll have grow lights above, and I'll give them very light water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with this one. I'm going to put about half a pot of soil in there. I like it dry. Like I said, with these bulbs, you do not want to have too much moisture at all. So there's about half a pot. I'm going to pick through these corms over here. Most of these kind of separated out into individuals. Just looking at these, I've got a couple of clumps. I may just use, in this one I'm just going to use probably 4, let's take 4 individual bulbs. Now I'm taking these, you can pretty much see, I should have shown you this part. This is where I cut the stem off last year. So when I trim those off, I leave just enough there so I can tell what the top of the bulb is. That will not hurt anything. Roots are on the bottom, so you want to plant it like this whenever you're putting it into the pot. So there's 3, 4, let's do 5, because we want these to be thick. You know, when I put these in planters, I do want a good thick leaf coverage, so 5 should give us a nice balance. So let's go ahead and we're going to cover those over. with soil. We'll fill it up to the top. It will settle down once we water it a little bit. And like I said, we're not going to water it a lot because these things will take forever. And I kid you not. Last year was the first year that I tried to revive the Radiants, and I put them in, I let them set. I thought these things are never going to come up. I really almost gave up on them, and I talked to one of my local growers, the local greenhouse where I buy a lot of my annuals, and she was in the same boat. She was growing some for her greenhouse, and she said these things just started breaking ground today. She said I went down there and looked, and they're about, there's about this much up out of the soil. And I came home the same day and looked at mine, and sure enough, they were starting to come up on the same day. What I've noticed though is when that first leaf unfurls out of these, then they go. I mean, they are gone. And I take them outside and I put them, we have a brick retaining wall that goes around the driveway, it kind of holds heat. I take them out there during the day and set them out in early spring and then bring them back in at night, because our temperatures here, until you get into late May, you might as well not even plant a caladium because our temperatures are so unpredictable. We might have 75-degree days and 40-degree nights, and these things don't like to be below 50 degrees. Is pretty much the threshold. I would not, ever think about putting them out below 50 degrees at nighttime temperatures here. It does slow down the process for them and their growth process quite a bit. So I'm going to give these just a little bit of a light mist, and not go real crazy with the water in here. Just enough to kind of settle these in. And I'll watch them. I'll actually let them dry out before I re-wet the soil again. I just want to give them enough to get them started. And then you don't want them to rot, so we just want to kind of, pretty much at this point, just kind of wake them up a little bit. So that's probably enough to start out. Now we're going to go over to the grow lights. So I'm using the uppermost plant shelf in my plant light rack display here. And the higher up on the shelf, the warmer it's going to be because heat rises. So I'm going to have other things growing below. So these I really want to give the best amount of heat. So putting them on top on a heat mat as well, under grow lights. Now I have not graduated to the LED system yet. I am still in the old T8 fluorescent, but until these run through their life, I'm going to keep them. They work really well for me, and they are, fairly efficient. I know the LED is more efficient, and I will go to those as soon as these have run their life course. But get the good out of what you got right now. And here's the terracotta planter underneath. That's going to help hold heat. Black pot's going to absorb heat from the light. I also have them in front of a window as well. This is a south-facing window, so that also gives them just another little element of being towards the outside as well. So this shelf is perfect for starting caladiums. This garage maintains about a 55-degree temperature where they're started all year long. Summertime gets a little bit warmer. But with the heat mat actually adds about 10 degrees or so to the soil temperature. So that brings us up to about 65. If the temperature goes up, brings us up to about 70 in here, which is the perfect condition to get these started. The way I overwinter cannas is just like this. Everything I do, I try to do in liners. So if you've seen the driveway island out there, you saw where I sunk the nursery pots down into the ground. I can just take a container like this full of cannas, drop it down in there, and then it's nice and maintained. Then when it comes fall and I want to dig those up, all I have to do is just take this out of the ground, bring it in here, store it in the garage, and we're good to go. Now in the spring, what I do is I take these apart and actually divide the bulbs, and I keep the best bulbs and plant new or more containers if I need them, or give away the bulbs if I don't need those. Now this particular one is a Canova orange bronze canna that I picked up actually off of a clearance rack last year at the end of the season, and got it started because I thought, well, I might want an orange bronze. This is more of a dwarf variety, so it's not as tall growing. But I just keep them in the pots. I don't take the bulbs out all winter. As you can see, there's still growth. Growth points on here really well. The soil is a little bit dry. I don't keep it on the wet side at all. In fact, I might water it every 2 to 3 weeks, just give them a little bit of moisture, and that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm just going to give this a little spritz of moisture, because it won't be long. We'll actually be out here taking these planters apart and dividing these up for the springtime. So this is how I keep canna bulbs. Makes it so much easier. While we're into this video today, I wanted to take the time to show you the progress of the front porch planters here. I noticed the other day that we do have hyacinth coming up now. So when I first showed you these, we just had crocus in here. So this is the hyacinth and crocus mix. I see another one that's coming through here. I see ground break back here as well. So it looks like all of those are doing well. So these were going to go by the front door in the 2 urns where I usually have the caladiums. Now these two, the double mixed tulips, still no signs of any life coming through those just yet, but I'm expecting any time now. And I may go out there and clean those urns out and start putting these out there. It's starting to get a little bit warmer, and those black pots hold the heat out there, so they'll probably make these come right on up and bloom. And I don't think that's going to be a bad thing with the type of temperatures we're going to have. And if it is, then hey, I've planted in a liner. I can grab them up, put them in the garage, and protect them. So that's one of the beauties of growing in liners. Our climate here in 6B is so unpredictable that you just never know when you're going to have to bring something in overnight and protect it. So that is the beauty of planting in liners. Thanks again for watching Antique and Garden Showcase. Remember to subscribe. If you haven't already, we'd love to have you as part of this channel. I hope that you found something here that you can use in your own garden as far as storing bulbs from the fall and keeping those over for spring. If you know a friend that would love to see these videos, we'd love to have them here as well. Thanks again and have a great week. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.